James Gunn is directing the next superhero film in 2025, titled Superman Legacy, but who will play the titular character? In this video we go through the top 8 actors who have been rumoured to be the next Superman, but first, a brief summary of how we got here and what happened to Henry Cavill's Superman. On October the 21st, Black Adam was released, and in the now infamous post-credits scene it featured Henry Cavill's Superman, reappearing after a 5-year hiatus after his last theatrical appearance in 2017's Justice League. 4 days after Black Adam's release, on October the 25th, Henry Cavill posted this to Instagram.
I am back as Superman. And the image you see on this post and what you saw in Black Adam are just a very small taste of things to come.
Then, just 1 day after this post, James Gunn and Peter Safran became the head honchos of the DC Cinematic Universe. And no more than 2 months later, on December the 15th, Cavill announced he would no longer be returning as Superman. So that's how we are where we are, with James Gunn announcing his new Superman movie due for release in 2 years' time, and us still not knowing who will play the Superman character. And, as always, there is avid speculation around who the next Superman will be, and more importantly, whether they can fill the boots of the much beloved Henry Cavill. Let's start with the most recent rumoured actor swirling around the internet, Nicholas Hoult. Best known for his role as Beast in the X-Men franchise, Tolkien, and most recently his performance as the detestable Tyler in The Menu. 6'3" and age 33, Hoult just about fits the criteria for James Gunn's Superman, as Gunn confirmed that in his Superman Legacy movie, Clark Kent will already be established as Superman, and similar to Matt Reeves' The Batman, he will be in the first few years of his superhero career, so much younger than Henry Cavill. The question is, does Hoult pass the Superman look test? I'd say no. Perhaps because of previous roles he's played, to me he just doesn't come across as the confident, powerful and inspirational figure that Superman needs to represent. These rumours around Hoult potentially being the next Superman seem all to stem from one article in The Hollywood Reporter, and when you read past the headline, it states that Nicholas Hoult is earmarked for the role as Superman's arch-nemesis Lex Luthor, which makes a lot more sense than him replacing Cavill as Superman. I'd give Nicholas Hoult becoming the next Superman a 20% chance. Next up is the bookie's favourite, Austin Butler. Butler is almost exclusively known for his portrayal of the King of Rock and Roll in 2022's Elvis, which he was nominated for an Oscar. He sure would be different to Henry Cavill, and perhaps that's what the next Superman needs to be. If Cavill's replacement loosely resembles him, then many would argue what's the point in replacing him. So a leaner, less grizzled, younger Austin Butler as Clark Kent could work, and he's in a good position of being famous enough but not too famous to make him believable in the role of Superman. Overall, I'd give Austin Butler becoming the next Superman a 60% chance. Next up, we have Michael B. Jordan. Speculation around Michael B. Jordan being the next Superman has been around for about 3 years now, with rumour that J.J. Abrams was producing a new Black Superman film in 2021, to speculation that Jordan would be developing a new Superman series himself, using his production company Outlier Society. These possible films and shows seem to have received the same fate as many projects that were thought up before the James Gunn and Peter Safran era, and can safely be placed in the bin alongside Black Adam sequel and Shazam 3. Whether Michael B. Jordan could be James Gunn's Superman, I believe to be highly unlikely. Yes, he's tall and has the body for the role, but a black Superman being a progressive, or woke, or stunning and brave way to start the DCU, it is perhaps not the controversy James Gunn would want in his big reboot of the DC Cinematic Universe. I personally sit on the side that if you want to race or gender swap an original character, aka the Little Mermaid, or a black James Bond, or Superman, it's normally a rather silly route to go down. There are so many characters, whether it be superheroes, fairy tale characters, or original stories, that feature people of every race and gender. So instead of changing an original character that has an established look, race, gender, and lore, which often stretches back decades if not centuries, just make something new, or adapt a story that features a person from the background you want. Anyway, I'd give Michael B. Jordan a 10% chance of being the next Superman. Aaron Taylor Johnson is next on the list, He seemingly also going for the Bond role was Taylor Johnson and Henry Cavill in first and second place on the betting odds to become the new Bond. Taylor Johnson has played a wide variety of characters, from his breakout performance as John Lennon in Nowhere Boy to superhero roles in Kick-Ass, and more recently Quicksilver in Avengers 2 and Tangerine in Bullet Train. He's 33, so just about fits the age range, but he's less than 6 foot tall, so boxes would have to be used to prop him up in some scenes. Dean Cain from the Smallville TV show is around the same height at 5'11", but there has not yet been a cinematic actor for Superman that has been under 6 foot. A few inches in height certainly shouldn't prevent him from becoming Superman. He's bulked up in recent years, and he's certainly a versatile actor who would carry some experience to the role. But despite his versatility, I can't get over the fact that with the exception of Nowhere Boy, I have not liked him in any of his films. There's an arrogance to his performance which just doesn't sit right with me, and arrogance certainly isn't a characteristic you associate with Superman. I'd give Aaron Taylor Johnson a 40% chance of being the next Superman, a 50% chance of becoming the next Bond, and a 10% chance of becoming neither. Next up is Will Poulter, who like Aaron Taylor Johnson has made it through the choppy waters of being a child actor, with roles in Narnia and We're the Millers, to now being an established star with his portrayal as Adam Warlock in a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. In a Twitter Q&A, James Gunn was asked whether any actors from Guardians of the Galaxy would be crossing over to Superman Legacy, to which he replied, yes. This of course stirred the speculation that Will Poulter could be one of those rare actors to play a role in the Marvel and DC cinematic universes. He's 6'2" and is 29 years old, so he would be able to play the role for the next decade or so. The major factor playing against Will Poulter is that he has just begun his role as Adam Warlock, and you would assume that Marvel have tied him down for the next 5 years at least. And I imagine that whoever is chosen to be the next Superman, James Gunn would want them to be fully committed and not taking on any other major roles. For this reason, I've rated his chances of becoming the next Superman at 30%. Next up we have Miles Teller, one of the more distinguished actors on the list so far. He's definitely hot in Hollywood, coming off from the success of Top Gun Maverick, but like Aaron Taylor Johnson, there's something not very likeable with Teller. Perhaps it's just my issue, but I find him to have one of the most punchable faces out there. He portrays, intentionally or not, an arrogance that wouldn't suit the humble Superman. On the plus side, he's one of the few Americans on the list, which doesn't mean anything to me, but for some fans, they are very keen on having an American portray Superman this time around. I give Miles Teller a 40% chance of becoming the next Superman. Next up we have Tom Hardy. Now I believe we can put Tom Hardy's chances of becoming the next Superman at the same odds as Amber Heard becoming the next Batman. It's just not going to happen. James Gunn and Peter Safran will want the next Superman to play a fundamental role for 5 to 10 years in the new DC cinematic universe. Tom Hardy is 45 years old, so he's 5 years older than Henry Cavill, meaning that if he was to play Superman for 5 to 10 years, he would be in his mid-50s playing the character. And yes, Daniel Craig played Bond in his 50s, but Superman is perhaps a more physical performance than Bond, where whoever is cast would have to have the superhero body. I would put Tom Hardy's chance of becoming the next Superman at 10%. The final actor on the list is David Corenswet, known primarily for his TV work in Hollywood, The Politician, and the movie Pearl. He certainly has a look, and at 30 years old, he fits Gunn's preferred age range for the role, and his journey would fit Cavill's, being a relatively unknown actor who then has their breakout role as Superman. I do see the appeal in having a less well-known actor for the role, as from a studio perspective, they would obviously cost less money and be willing to sign up to a 5 or 10 year contract, and they would demand less control and have less ego than an established star might. On top of this, they wouldn't face the potential difficulty of people comparing their previous roles to Superman, aka from Kick-Ass to Superman in Aaron Taylor Johnson's case. Corenswet has also said the following when asked about Superman, but my pie in the sky ambition is definitely to play Superman. I would love to see somebody do an upbeat throwback. I love the Henry Cavill dark and gritty take, but I would love to see the next one be very bright and optimistic. So clearly he is vying, or at least throwing the feelers out there for the role. I'd give David Corenswet a 60% chance of becoming the next Superman. So finally, if we compare the percentage chance I've given these actors, at the bottom of the list we have Tom Hardy and Michael B. Jordan with a 10% chance. followed by Nicholas Hoult on 20%, Will Poulter on 30%, Miles Teller and Aaron Johnson-Taylor at 40%, and Austin Butler and David Corenswet joint first, with a 60% chance of being the next Superman. A few days ago, James Gunn confirmed that Superman has not been cast yet, saying for now, only one person has been cast in Superman Legacy, and it isn't any of the regular players in the Superman world. Now I'm a fan of James Gunn and his work, but I don't actually believe him here, as Legacy is scheduled for July the 11th, 2025, and production for this type of movie can take anywhere from 1.5 years to 2.5 years. James Gunn has already finished the scripts, and I believe he already knows who he wants to play Superman, and has already contacted the actor. Henry Cavill was announced to be Superman in 2011, which was 2 years before Man of Steel was released. So I imagine an announcement is coming over the next few months, or perhaps after the dceu has fully wrapped up, with Aquaman 2 being the last film set in the old DC Extended Universe, releasing December this year. Now what do you believe? Will any of these actors become the next Superman, or will it be somebody who hasn't been rumoured yet? And who would you like to see don a red cape? Please let me know in the comments below. It's early days for the channel, so liking, commenting and subscribing is really appreciated, as it helps the channel to grow. I will soon be releasing a video on who the next James Bond will be, so if you like this video and want to see more like it, then consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you, and see you again.